I knew we were very poor. We lived in apartments. We moved to Cedar Rapids, and we kept moving around in different apartments. And my dad tried to find work, and I went to Jackson School, first grade, and I went to Taylor for about 2 months, and then we moved to Tyler. I finished grade school, Tyler School. Then I went to McKinley, and I finished at McKinley. And I was kind of a loner. I played alone. I had two friends, Betty Lou and Dolores. And we played hopscotch and jacks. Excited. I broke my arm on the cannon down in Green Square one night. My folks had gone down to bank night, and I was playing on the cannon in Green Square, and I broke my arm. And that was all summer. I was recuperating all summer. Bank night was when you put your name in at State Theater's World. It was the World after State left, and you put your name in, and then they draw a name, and my folks would go down, stand in front of the theater with about 100 people, and they draw a name and read it. And if you won money, you know. So Jerry and I would just stay in the park and play while they went over across the street to listen to see whose name was going to be called. Yes, I was born in Nebraska City, and St. Mary's Hospital, I guess, was the only hospital there. I don't remember too much about my childhood, though. I mean, growing up, I don't remember too much, except my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side had a farm, and most of her brothers and sisters lived around there, and they had farms too. And my dad's family had moved to Omaha, and then Grandma and Grandpa Myers moved to Cedar Rapids, and that's why we came. But I don't remember too much about my first 5 years. But I did start school when I was in first grade. They didn't kindergarten, so I started in first grade and learned how to cursive write. I didn't know how to print when I came to Cedar Rapids. I had to learn that all over again. So, yeah, I kind of remember a few things, like going downtown. We didn't have a car, so we walked downtown and look in the windows on a Sunday night. We didn't live that far from town. And go in theater, yeah. We used to go to movies a lot. Only a dime. Not like it is today. We had, Jerry and I had everything. Scarlet fever, which is kind of serious. They put a red sign on the door, and they quarantine you, and nobody could come in or go out for a certain length of time, like 2 weeks. And it made a big deal. The Board of Health would come and take the sign down, and we'd celebrate, you know. Yippee, we get to go out. But we had mumps, measles, the whole bit. Jerry had almost died with whooping cough. It was so bad that you can't get your breath, and he was just a little baby. He almost died from that. But yeah, we didn't have shots. They never gave us vaccines. See, we were always sick, I guess, huh? Well, my grandpa didn't like kids. Obviously, he had a lot of kids of his own, but he just didn't like kids, and they were a nuisance. And Jerry and I would play. I tell this story because I thought it was so funny at the time. But we go in the chicken coop, and the hens would be laying on their eggs, and we'd scare them off their eggs. And he'd get so mad at us. You darn kids, get out of here. Oh, he wasn't too nice. And my grandma, poor Grandma Shoemaker, she was huge. She must have weighed 400 or 500 pounds. Yeah, and that's all she did was sit in the chair. Yeah, she didn't move. And then my aunt, my youngest aunt, on my mother's side, worked at the telephone company and took care of her, and stayed home and took care of her. And she had a canary. I remember my folks left me there because I had the mumps. And they went to Omaha with Jerry, and I stayed with Grandma. No TV, no radio. What did I do? I don't remember. That must have been so boring. But she didn't talk to me, you know?
Running water?
Oh, I had a pump, yeah. And outside facilities to go to
Outhouse.
the bathroom. Oh, that was awful. Oh, spiders and ew, maybe even snakes. I never saw one, but I heard about them. Yeah, well, it wasn't too far from the house. But water, yeah, it was well water. Awful taste and stuff. Yeah. Couldn't wait to get back home to the good old water here. We went by car, and during the war you couldn't get tires. And on the way back from a trip, we had an old beat-up car. It was a Ford, but it was old. We had a flat tire, and we didn't have a spare, so Dad rode the rim. Yeah, we had to go kind of slow, and the sparks were flying, you know. I never forget that, because that was kind of scary. It was loud. But during the war, you couldn't get tires, you know. You had to go down to the board and get special permission to get a tire. Same with shoes. Shoes were rationed. And well, Jerry was at that stage. They made shoes out of paper, actually, because they were giving the servicemen the leather. This was during the war, and they were rationing shoes. And Jerry was at this stage where, you know, just a typical boy, active, and was wearing his shoes out because it just weren't made that well. So yeah, we never. I once in a while got a new pair of shoes, but you know, he was the one that. He probably remembers it different than I do. People do that, you know. What else was right? Oh, meat, and we didn't have much meat. We ate a lot of fish. Meat and sugar. Sugar was rationed. Yeah, they go hunting, get rabbit and squirrels, and once in a while pheasant. Not very often a pheasant, but yeah, it was good. I ate it. It was good. But fish, oh, gosh, I don't know. It just didn't. It tasted like the cedar. I've said this before. It tastes just like the cedar smells in the summertime. You know, there I was on the second floor, and roller skating. Yeah, at night, and we had a 10 o'clock curfew, and of course, we didn't have a car, so I had to walk. And it was 10 o'clock, and there was a policeman on duty, and I said, I'm not going to make it home by 10 o'clock. And he said, go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead. So I had to walk all the way from A Avenue down to 8th Avenue by myself at 10 o'clock. Can you believe, I wouldn't let one of my kids do that now. Ran, I think. Yeah. But, you know, in those days, people did. I walked to work every day from there and walked home. The buses were so crowded, probably would have to stand up anyway, so you know, I didn't live that far. I lived, oh, I don't know, maybe a mile. But with nothing new, you know. We walked a lot, yeah. Yeah, well, let's see, what did we do for fun? Movies, that was about it. Jerry and I used to walk down from where we lived on 8th Avenue down to Riverside. They had a pool, and we'd go down the 8th Avenue Bridge and then cut down there by Pennick on the west side and walk along there and go in that way. You know, go to the park that way. Yeah, barefoot, we'd stand hot cement, and sand babies. Sand babies. We didn't think anything about it. I bet kids wouldn't do it today. But if you wanted to go swimming, that's the way you did it. Yeah. let's see, what else did we do for fun? That was about it. Gosh, no, my mom's family lived in Nebraska, in Iowa, western Iowa, and they just didn't get together. Yeah, so just the four of us. I don't think we made a big deal out of it either, you know. Well, we got one gift, and one year Jerry got a train, a Lionel train. Oh my gosh, it was a great gift. And I think I got a doll, or maybe that was the year I got the comb and brush and mirror set for my vanity. That might be, you know. Yeah, we didn't get very much. We had a tree. We had a tree up, but they didn't make a big deal out of Christmas at all. Not like people do today. Oh my. Didn't have the money for one thing. I remember my aunt lived upstairs. My aunt and uncle lived upstairs with us, and they used to trade at the store a couple doors away. And one week they had a bet who could spend the less on a week's groceries, and my mom won $5, less than $5. Can you believe that? I don't know how she did it, but it's unbelievable. Yeah, but my mom won. Think about my mom. One day, a hobo came by. We were on Lincoln Highway, on Highway 30. That's where it used to run on 8th Avenue. And a hobo stopped at our house, and my mom fixed him breakfast. And he sat on the porch, back porch, and ate it. And I thought, what a wonderful thing to do. You know, I don't know if I'd do it. I'd probably say no, but she did. She cooked him a breakfast, and he went on his way. But that's, you know, different times now. One of her brothers, it was a twin, or one of his sisters, you know, the twin, and he was climbing the fence. They were hunting with his dad, and he was climbing a fence and shot himself. Oh. Louis, I remember my mom talking about it when they were kids, you know, young kids. Just a lot of kids. I think he was the only one that died, but I think there were 13 on both sides. My mom and my dad had, and I remember my dad talking about stone gravy, rock gravy. They put a rock in and just flour and water, I think. Isn't that all?
That is
you
bad.
suppose he was kidding? I don't think so. How gross, huh? Dad, on a hot day, Dad took us down to the gravel pits. It's down there someplace where they used to take, or maybe they still do, take sand out of the river. Sand pits, they called them. It was over there by the dump. I mean, that's where the way we went, over by the dump on the west side. Yeah, sand pits. And a hot summer night, you know. Mom never went, but my dad was a great swimmer. Yeah, I couldn't swim very well. I'm afraid of it, I think. I'm kind of afraid of water, you know. But I did dog paddle. That's about the extent of it. I like the water now, but yeah, I didn't get to go around it very much. Well, I had gone to a movie Sunday afternoon. I had gone to a movie at the Paramount, and I was walking home alone, walking through Green Square Park, and it was about 4, maybe in the afternoon, and there was somebody yelling, Gazette, Gazette, and a kid was out on the street selling the Gazette special, you know, and I didn't understand what was going on, you know, so I got home, and we didn't have a TV, but my dad had the radio on the, we didn't have a refrigerator, an icebox, and they were talking about a war, about the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor, and the President Roosevelt was speaking, and I don't know, I must have been 10, but it just didn't soak in. I don't know why. It should have been more meaningful than that, but the guy that lived upstairs joined, right away joined the Navy, and so he was gone. I think he came home okay, but we lost track of him. But yeah, well, the other war was going on. The European War was going on, and my uncle Bill, my dad's youngest brother, joined the army, and he was lost in France for a while, and they couldn't find him. And then the Red Cross found him later on, and he was in France. A tree had fallen across his back and had broken his back, and he was in the hospital a long time, and then he came home. But the Japanese War, I don't know. Mom and I used to go to the theater, and they'd always had the news before, you know, and they'd show the pictures of the war, but I don't know, it just didn't really soak in. You know, maybe it should have, but I think maybe I thought it was my age. Nothing I could do about it, for one thing. Although we did, you know, it was tough with some of the things we couldn't buy, and I was babysitting one night. We had air raid tests, and you had to turn all your lights off and close off. Didn't want any light coming through. And I was babysitting one night, and we had to do that. And it didn't happen very often, but that was one of the things that, you know, I remember from the war. But, you know, other than that, and the inconvenience of some of the things we couldn't buy. It was an old house, and the kitchen was about twice as big as the average. It was beautiful. I mean, not beautiful, but, you know, it was old. But, oh, lots of cupboards on one side, and a big table, and that's where everybody, and the radio was on. See, we didn't have TV, so radio was on the refrigerator, icebox, and everybody gathered there around the table. They'd come to visit. We wouldn't go in the living room. We'd sit out there, and the guys would open a quart of beer or something, and my brother had friends that came over, and at high school, he was in high school then, and played cards of his friends. I mean, you know, everything was the kitchen. Yeah, so, and we didn't have carpeting. We had linoleum, you know, which it didn't bother me. Only the rich people had carpeting and air conditioning. It didn't bother me too much, but just thinking back now, you know, it would have been nice to have carpet or air. Yeah. You do get by, though, I guess. My dad said...
sure you do.
My mom was in and out of the hospital, and my dad said, if I was a senior in high school, and he said, if you want to go to college, I'll get the money. But we didn't have loans in those days. I don't know where he would have gotten it, but he said, I'll see that you go. And I said, well, I had this job with a lawyer that I thought was great, you know, and lots of money, and I just had no desire to go to college. So I didn't go to college, but then I got married young and had my children young, and I reached a point where I had to go back to work. So I worked a lot of places, you know, and I don't know what I would have taken if I'd gone to college. I don't know. I had thought it when I was still in school, maybe a airline stewardess, but I'm sure glad I didn't do that, because I don't really like to fly that well. I can't imagine having a job like that, but I didn't have a lot of friends. I had Dolores and I were in the same class at school, and Betty Lou had moved over in the Franklin district. So she wasn't going to school. And she was a couple years older, so she got out of school and got married, and we had cliques at school, you know. We were kind of in the middle class clique, and we did things together, and I really wasn't into boys very much. I would have liked to, but I was shy. I didn't know how to go about it. In fact, I asked a few to go to the prom with me, and they already had dates, so that was kind of a downer. So a group of us ended up going to the fair. We thought we were being really smart. Yeah, but this gal that was driving, Marie Thompson, we were all seniors, and she was huge. She was Tate Cummins' niece.
Oh.
And she drove, and she had long fingernails, and I think we were all 18, and we stopped at the Mirror Lounge. It was a bar on First Avenue, and I didn't have a beer, but she was drinking beer and smoking. Oh my goodness. I'd never seen a girl smoke before, you know. My dad smoked, but anyway, that was the beginning. Yes, Wilma. No,
Oh, Winnie.
Winifred.
Winnie, yeah.
She was a twin, Wilma and Winifred. Yeah. And who else was in there? My best friend Dolores asked my brother. She went to the prom with my brother. Jerry was tall and good looking, and you know, I was kind of mad about that. She asked my brother. Yeah, well, I don't know. What did we do? I never got into drinking for a long time. I can't even remember. But you know, sometimes you just join the crowd. Yeah, that's it. And we got a scholarship. Tate Cummins scholarship, and he didn't go because he was in love, and that was sorry, you know. And he and Bibi went together for a couple of years in high school, I think. And then she went to Missouri to college, and Jerry was here working, but he'd go down there just about every weekend, I think. He had a car. And then they got married. Yeah. But we used to go to let's see, is it Danceland? Above, yeah, Danceland. You remember Danceland? Next to the Roosevelt Hotel, Plymouth Street.
I don't remember.
I think I remember picking up Chris one night there. I didn't like him going there, but...
I don't remember.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Tom loved to dance. Oh my gosh. And we went to a lot of the name bands that came to town. There was a ballroom out by Seymour, you know, where the little park was. And that was Armar. And we went out there to see a lot of the name bands out there. He loved to dance. I liked to dance too, but I wasn't that good. But his whole family was very, very into music. They loved it. And he was good dancer. But he really loved his music. Yeah, I can't think of anything going out there, and the bus ended right there in the corner of Blair's Ferry. It ended and I had to get off and walk. How in the world did I ever get that kind of a job anyway? I can't. Okay, and then another time I babysat during the summer for two little kids across from the old post office is the post office still there?
Yeah.
Okay. And they were just two little kids, and I don't know how old I was, maybe 13. But I took them downtown, I don't know, I think the mother was working at Kresge's or something. And I took them downtown, got on the bus and took them down. Oh, and the mother was so mad. She fired me. She didn't want me to take her little kids downtown. I felt secure, you know. Babysat next door to when I was younger, babysat. I didn't like babysitting. I especially didn't like babysitting on New Year's Eve. That, to me, you know, that wasn't what I enjoyed. But I did a lot of babysitting. But I started working at St. Luke's when I was 12 during the summer at the diet kitchen. And then I had to quit because the child labor law was coming in. They had to be 14. And the summer was just about over anyway, so that was okay. And then I worked in Royal Laundry. I thought I really worked hard, maybe not, but during the Christmas vacation. All I wanted was enough money to get a pair of ice skates, and he handed me, payday. As we left, he handed cash, and it wasn't quite enough for ice skates. And I thought I'd really worked hard. But working in the laundry, she had to take salt pills because of sweating. And I thought, wow, I really worked hard for that. I think folks helped me finish it off. I don't remember what the skates were, but it wasn't enough. But it was dark when I got up. I had to walk to work, and it was dark. Oh yeah, poor me. And I worked all the dime stores, so oh my God, I worked at all the dime stores. At Kresge's, I was at the food counter. McClellan's was in the middle of the block on First Avenue, and I worked in the basement at Christmas time. I don't think I worked at Woolworths, did I? No. Well, no, I didn't work at Woolworths. I had to wear a uniform. It was kind of a high-class cafeteria. They went along, but they get roast beef and, and higher-class stuff. And on BJ Day, that's Victory in Japan, we were working. It was across from the bank on the street, 3rd Street, Harmony was, and we heard noise and people cheering, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people out there. It was a decoration, the war was over, and people were just going crazy. So the owner said, oh, you people ought to just go on home because we're not going to have it. Well, then people started coming in, and I got a $5 tip. Oh my goodness. I mean, usually probably got a quarter or something, but. So you had to walk home because the bus is going to get through. And my brother and Jerry, my mother and my brother were down at the Paramount Theater. My dad was out on a call for a railroad call. And they shut the theater down. Everything just, quit. So that was kind of fun to live through that.